Are you an introvert who has a difficult time playing the networking game, but you know you need to, but it feels draining, it feels exhausting, and it feels extremely fake? Well, what if I told you that you can network without changing your personality, without trying to be someone else, and where it actually feels genuine? What if you no longer saw networking as this huge barrier and instead saw it as this opportunity to actually move forward on the path that you want to take in your career? Well, in this video, I am going to share with you ways that I have personally networked as an introvert so that in 2026, you don't feel icky and cringy about networking again. So, with that being said, let's get into this episode and welcome to Leadership Beyond the Title podcast. So, if you've been following me for a while, most of y'all know that I'm an introvert. I get a lot of my energy from being alone, from having just this time to just like be in my own element, right? I don't necessarily like small talk. I don't like going to networking events. All of it is just so cringe to me. What I know about myself is that it feels like when I'm doing small talk or when I'm like engaging with people, it's like, okay, so what do I say? How are they looking at me? How are they judging me? Am I talking for enough time? Am I saying the right things? Are they like disinterested in what I'm saying, or are they interested, or are they going to say something that I have no idea what they're talking about? And that is going to literally throw me off, right? And so that's why networking, it just feels like this big ordeal. On top of that, I'm not a person who builds relationships based on transactions. And so if it feels like this is like a transaction type of meeting or connection, it feels like it's almost like being in sales where you're like trying to sell things and it feels like, am I literally selling myself right now? Right. And so I don't ever want to be like that with networking. So that's why networking feels extremely it doesn't feel like that as much now because I've learned and I've had practices to like actually get me from feeling that way, but it does still feel sometimes a little cringy. And so what I want you to know though, after, several years of me just trying to find my place and trying to work things out, is that I started to have the mindset that networking is just about building relationships. And I know how important and how valuable building has been in my life. And so I've had to literally switch my mind to say, you know what? Check this out. It's not that big of a deal. You're building a relationship. And what is important to you about building relationships? It's not necessarily about, whether they're judging me and all of that. I am trying to understand who they are. I'm literally trying to have a genuine connection with them so I understand, like, what do they like? What's important to them? How can I see myself in their world, right? And so having this mindset that networking is just relationships has helped me so much. And I wanted to help you too. The other thing that I want you to kind of think about is that if you want to be good at networking, you have to stop forcing yourself to do it. Let me say that again. Because I know that I'm talking about like networking is good and this is you should definitely do it. And I'm sure you've heard that, right? This is not new news to you at all. And so what I want you to understand is that you don't have to force yourself to network. You don't, right? And you also have to be okay with whatever, the consequence or the domino effect of that is. However, if you embody the identity that you are a networker, you can do that while at the same time being yourself. I think a lot of times we get caught up in this like networking has to look a certain way. It comes from certain people. Only certain people are good at that. And I just want to like dispel that myth because networking can be done in your way, the way that you want it. It doesn't have to be done like everybody else. And so you have to embody, first of all, you have to understand like networking is just relationship building. And then you have to define for yourself what networking means to you. What's your beliefs about networking? Changing or shifting those beliefs if necessary, and then stepping into the identity of I am a networker, right? Once you step into that identity, it gets so much better. Now, I just want to say this really quickly because I know sometimes you're like, what the hell does it mean to step into an identity of something, right? I want you to think of it if you're a mom, right? So if you're a mom, you naturally start doing mom things, right? You start, feeding your kids, giving them direction, disciplining them, taking them to school, bathing them, clothing them, taking them for a walk, taking them to the park, all the things, right? You literally start to hold some level of responsibility in yourself that you have to do this and that you have to actually step into that full identity as a mom. It's the same thing when we step into any other identity. We want to step into the identity of who we are and whatever that thing is that we're after and say, this is who I am. And so that's going to take being responsible. Leadership is being responsible for your world and it's being responsible for the identity that you actually want to sit in, that you want to embody, right? And so if we're embodying a identity of a networker, what does that look like? And what responsibility comes with that? What am I responsible for when I step into that identity of a networker? So that's what I want you to think about when you're thinking about identity. And when someone tells you need to embody that identity, to step into that identity, I just want you to ask yourself, like, okay, what does that look like? What are my beliefs about it? And what is my responsibility by stepping into that identity? Okay. So let's keep going. So you want to step into that identity. And when you actually own what that looks like for yourself, you actually become more of yourself and not less. Okay. You are more of yourself, not less, because at the end of the day, you are making that choice. You are making that decision. You are saying what it is that you actually want to do. You're shaping it for yourself. Okay. And so I don't want you to think like I need to choose the things that society has said is the right way to do things or the right way to be as a networker or leader or mom or whatever it is that you step into that identity. Hell, you might step into the rich girl identity. Define that for yourself. I have a leadership program, a coaching program that's called Six Figure Leader, right? And it's not all about the money. It's not. There's so much other things that come with being a six-figure leader, right? So whatever that is for you, whatever you step into, I just want you to be okay with that. And I want you to say to yourself, this is who I am and this is what I'm responsible for. And it doesn't have to be like anybody else. Okay. Because leadership is making choices and it's being responsible for your world. But the thing that gets in our way with networking is that we start to say we need to speak a certain way, we need to dress a certain way, we need to, show up in a specific way. And that is far from true. Okay. And so when you start to think about networking, keep that in mind. It's not like anybody else. But I also don't want you to create self limiting beliefs for yourself. Because sometimes, even in the way that we speak about networking, I'm not a good networker. I can't network. Networking is no good. Why should I even network? I could do this all by myself. Y'all, I don't think this is in the Bible, but it's Bible. Life is in the power of our tongue. Life and death is in the power of our tongue. So, how we speak or what we say is going to shape our beliefs, and our beliefs shape the actions that we take. So, if from the gate you're like, hey, I'm not good at networking, I'm not a networker, I can't do networking, that's not my thing, your actions are going to follow. And 9 times out of 10, you are going to block opportunities for yourself because you already called a thing a thing. You've already cast this thing over your own life because of what you spoke, because of what you said. And so I want to tell you, like, just be careful. Be careful what you're saying and what are you speaking life or death over yourself? Okay. Networking is an opportunity to bring life into your life. Why? Because it can open doors that you didn't see coming. It can open doors that you're after. It can give you resources. It can help you through hard times. All of these things. And so, being a networker, like from this moment on, I want you to tell yourself, I am a networker. I can network. Networking is easy. I can step into I could step into the place. I can find new ways to network that feel more like me, that feel more comfortable. That's what I want you to start saying to yourself because I want you to start speaking life into the thing that you want to do, life into the thing and the person that you want to be. Okay. From now on, we're not going to say we can't do it. Because when you start calling things hard and you start saying that immediately, you've already lost. You've already prevented yourself from moving forward. Okay? All right? So, let's talk about what these things are that is going to be some things that you can try out, things that you can work on, mindset beliefs and shifts and things like that, to be a networker. Because I could tell you all day that you need to shift your mind, you need to shift your beliefs. But I know you're saying, Tashina, what are the tangible things? What are the things that I can actually do today to get me started on my networking journey? Well, guess what? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked because y'all know I like to teach, so I am going to tell you the 5 ways, the 5 genius ways that you can network so that it does not feel cringe. Okay. So the first thing, right? Now, this isn't part of those 5 things. This is just something that I want to throw out to you right away. And I want you to know because it's important, but I want you to actually really understand this because it's the setup for everything else, okay? It's the setup for how you're going to be, what you're going to do, all of the things, okay? So, the first thing about networking that you need to know is you need to first do some discovery about who you are. Do some discovery. Who are you? What type of person are you and what does networking look like for you? What are your beliefs around that? Okay. I'm just looking down at my iPad, looking at down at my notes. So when we talk about networking, we spend so much time trying to do networking like everybody else. Because in our society, what we see as network or good networkers are the people who are kind of like the social butterflies. They're all over the place. They're meeting everybody in the room. Like they're not afraid. True story. So I am exactly the opposite of my husband. And I always make fun of him because I always call him the squirrel. And this comes from my training with the Enneagram. Enneagram is a personality test. It helps you discover what your core motivations are. And he is a type 7. So if you know Enneagram, he's a type 7. Maybe one day I'll get into a podcast episode just about Enneagram and motivations. But for now, just know that as a type 7, they are the people that are the most optimistic. And they're kind of like the social butterflies. They know they can walk into a room, not know anybody, leave and know everybody. That is him, right? And when recently we went to, I sit on a board and we went to their fundraiser dinner. And as soon as he got in there, first of all, it was people he ran into that he knew. And I was like, how do you know these people? That's what I was saying in my mind. But then the second thing about that was that even the people he didn't know, he was able to spark conversation and talk to them and just do the thing, right? And I'm going to talk about this as one of the steps, but that, was an entry point in me to getting to know other people as well, right? And so for him, like as the squirrel of the Enneagram, like I call it, he is the epitome of what society would say is a good networker. However, when we only see networking as one way, when we only see it as extroversion, walking into a room and we see everybody and we know everybody, we limit ourselves from opportunities and from different openings of how networking could look because it doesn't look like the same for everybody. Let me tell y'all, in my last job, my last 9 to 5, I remember my boss saying to me, like, we would sit in like the hallway or the like common areas, and we would have like our one on ones, and we were talking. One day we were sitting and having a one on one, and in our one on one, people just kept going, walking by. Hi, Tashina. Hi, Tashina. Hi, Tashina. He was like, dang, you know, a lot of people. And on our way out, when we were actually, our entire team was being laid off, he said, Tashina, the best leverage you have is you know a lot of people, you have a lot of relationships, right? And that was, like, such a gift for him to say to me, and I thought about it because I am an introvert. However, the things that I'm gonna talk to you about today are the very things that help me grow my network without being like my husband, without being the person that walks into the room and knows everybody. There were other ways and other methods of how I was able to become a networker, right? And when my old boss told me that, I was like, such a gift because it helped. I borrowed the belief that he had for me that I'm a good networker or a good relationship builder. And it has become the very thing that I stand on in my coaching practice. It is one of the areas in my leadership triangle that I focus on. And when you're building relationships, networking is a part of that. Okay. And so the first thing that I want you to know is that you don't have to focus on being like everybody else. Know who you are, know what works for you, know what is the thing that is your secret sauce and how you can do this because you can do it just like everybody else. You can have a network, you can, do the thing and meet a lot of people. I did it one way, my husband does it another way, okay? So know yourself, know what that is for you, okay? Now, let's get into these 5 ways, okay? These are the actual tangible ways that I'm gonna teach you on how you can become a good network, okay? So, you have walked into your office, or maybe you do go to a dinner or a networking hour or something like that. The first thing to do is to know your intention. What is your intention? What is your purpose for doing it? Maybe it's more visibility. Maybe it's to get a mentor. Maybe it's to learn more information, like get access to some resources. Maybe it's just to, be a wallflower and just see how the culture is and how people interact with each other. I think the very first thing that you need to do is really understand what your intention or your purpose is, because that helps to shape the conversations you have, the people that you want to meet, how many people you're going to meet. In one of my coaches' programs, she has this annual kind of like gathering, 3 days off, somewhere, right? So the last 2 years has been in DC. Next year is going to be in Miami. Her name is DL Sharon. She's one of my coaches. And one of the things she had all the people in her program do before this annual event is to get very clear about what we wanted when we went there. Everything from how many people we wanted to meet or what type of people we wanted to meet, what other businesses we wanted to interact with. Did we want to be on podcasts? Did we just want to get more business friend besties, Did we want to do like what is the purpose, right? And when you know this, when you know your intention, it helps shape everything. It shapes the conversations, it shapes the connections, and in a way, it kinda manifests like you're kinda manifesting that thing out there, and you're kinda putting it out into the world and saying, "This is what I want," and energetically, that's gonna come back to you. And so I want you to know what is your purpose for going. If somebody asks you, "Let's go to dinner," or "We're having this team dinner," or because let me tell you right now, I'm just gonna pull over to the side of the road and we're gonna get back on. You can decline a team dinner. You have my permission. I did it all the time. You could decline a team dinner. It's not a make or break in your career. It's not. Okay, let's get back on the road. So, if you're going to a team dinner, if you're doing any of these things, I just want you to be very, very clear about what it is that you are going to this, to it for. What's your intention? What are you hoping to get out of it? You should not be spending extra time talking to people and doing things outside of your day-to-day 9 to 5 job or your business, whatever, without clear goals on what you're going to get back. There's an ROI for everything in life. There's an ROI for everything. And so what is that intention? So that's the first thing that you wanna do. The next thing is, like I just said, you can decline a team dinner, right? But put another way that I like to say is skip happy hours, focus on working hours. Now, this is especially important for my introverts out there. If you are an introvert, you are probably like, oh my God, I am not trying to go to this team dinner or this networking event. Oh my God, is there a different way? Because it's draining, it's exhausting, it feels fake, it feels forced, it feels like I'm gonna go, I'm gonna meet somebody, and I'll never hear from them again. And so you can skip out happy hours and focus only on the working hours. If you are an introvert, a busy mom, if you're a busy spouse, if you have other activities, like for myself, I have my business, but I also sit on 2 different boards. And I have kids who have multitude of sports events and things that they want me at and want me to be engaged. And y'all, I just want sleep sometimes. Anybody out there feel me? Sometimes you just want to sleep, right? And so these extracurricular events sometimes is just outside of what you're willing to do. And so the permission here is to skip happy hours and work and focus on working hours. Focus on that 9 to 5 time frame. Know your intention for the day, know who you want to connect with, know what you want to do and what you're hoping to get out of it, and stay there. Okay. This is exactly what I did in my work. This is how I gained so many relationships because I maximized the time during my 9 to 5 to really connect with people, to get to know who people were. Of course, I did extra things like I raised my hand for different events, got on different teams, um, did fun activities, when people asked me to. It wasn't just all work, it was play too. Our slogan was work hard, play hard. And so we did all that type of things. And I raised my hand because I thought it was fun. It was how the culture was made, all these things. And so I really, if you maximize your working hours, you can grow the relationships you need without going to any happy hour. Okay. So that's the second thing is after you state your intention, your goal, your purpose, it literally shapes how you're going to be a networker, how you're going to grow these relationships. And if you're an introvert, if you're a busy person, you could say, I'm skipping the happy hours and I'm just going to work. I'm going to focus on the working hours. Okay. So that's the second thing. Hey, friends, if you are watching this, you are probably looking to step into leadership without being fake, being able to influence the people around you and start having opportunities to come knocking at your door. If this is you, I want to invite you to my 5-day one-on-one coaching challenge. That is 5 days of private one-on-one coaching sessions with me, where you are going to discover how to go from overlooked to 6 figures in your career. So go ahead and click the link in the show notes to sign up. I'm looking forward to working with you. Now, let's get back into this conversation. All right. So now we get to the fourth thing. Okay. So this one is something that I learned from somebody that I used to work with, so I can't say it's fully my framework, but it's something that I have used to literally get my son into the private school of his choice when he was entering into ninth grade. He's in the 10th grade now. And that is the 222 method. Okay. So the 2-2 method is a cadence of time that you are supposed to follow up after you've met this person, met these people, this team, this organization, what have you, right? And it's a way that you continue to nurture the relationship. I think a lot of times we don't know how to continue the conversation and we get tripped up on like, dang, should I follow up? Should I not? When should I reach out to them? What should I do? We get caught up in that, right? And so this 222 method is very simple. It has very simple, like this is what you do in that moment. And it's going to help you continue to nurture the relationship until the relationship is just more on autopilot, organic, and you're always connecting, okay? So what is the 222 method? The first 2 stands for 2 days. This is the cadence, the first point of, like, follow up after you meet somebody. So, you meet them at a happy hour, and then in 2 days, you wanna reach out by email, by phone, by text, whatever, right? Which reminds me, don't forget to get information from the person after you meet them, okay? Find a way that you can stay connected, right? Even if it's LinkedIn or Instagram or, other avenues, but you get something so you can reach back out to them, right? And so in 2 days, you just wanna shoot them a quick message and you just wanna say, "Hey, I enjoyed the conversation the other day. We were talking about uh, what's happening in the biotech industry, and it just really made me think a lot about what I'm supposed to do next in my career. And I just wanted to send you some gratitude, see how you're doing, and just, catch up whenever you can." Done. Okay. Simple. You don't have to go into a lot of detail, but the key here is you do want to express your gratitude and you also want to point out something you spoke about, okay? So that means if you are meeting somebody for the first time, don't let what you're talking about go in one ear and out the other. Actually remember what you talked about, okay? That's important. That's 3 levels of listening. That's understanding and hearing what the person said and taking it in and keeping it so that you can use it later, right? In your follow-up, okay? So the first one is 2 days. The second one is 2 weeks. So with 2 at the 2-week point, this is after that 2 days. So you do 2 days and then 2 weeks after those 2 days, you want to follow up, and this time it's a little bit deeper where you're going to share some relevant information, an article or something, right? And so this could look like, "Hey, such and such, I was recently at this event, or I was recently reading this HBR article, and it made me think about you and what we talked about. And so I wanted to shoot it over to you. I want to get your thoughts. I want to know what you thought about it because, oh my God, this information is like mind blowing. Like it's exactly what we were talking about. Let me know what you think." Period. Done, done, delete. It's done, right? And so now you've actually engaged with them on something they actually enjoy talking about. I think a lot of times I've said it like networking feels hard because you don't know what to talk about. Well, if you remember what you actually spoke about, oh my God, like that is the way to continue the conversation because now you are an article, an event, something is reminding them. And y'all, people are egotistical by nature. We care about ourselves by nature. It's all about us. And when we could point something that reminds them of them, they're like flattered, like, "Oh my God, you remembered that. Oh my God, that's amazing." You could even use this time as like, "Hey, I remember you were talking about your daughter is about to graduate. How's it going? Like, how was that? How was the graduation? How does it feel that she's leaving?" Y'all, me telling you this, the next time somebody does something in this format, you're not gonna be able to unsee it. You're literally gonna be like, "Oh my God, they're doing this," right? Even if it's not the 222 method, you're gonna notice when people are like, "Hey, tell me about your daughter." I went to the dentist yesterday, and the dentist was like, "How's your daughter in college? How's she doing?" Right? And it's like, "Oh, you remember me. You remember what we talked about." And that brings the connection. That tells somebody, "I care about you. I'm listening to you, and I heard what you said, and I just want to point that out and follow up." it shows your level of awareness and connection. Okay. So that's what you're going to do at 2 weeks. And then 2 months later, right? This is where you're going to give an update. Hey, just wanted to let you know I just started a new job. I just started this new opportunity. I thought about you, I want to tell you all about it. Would you like to, meet up for lunch, meet up for whatever, right? That is how you do it. Okay. That it's just it could be a quick call, it could be quick coffee, quick lunch, whatever it is, a walk and talk over the phone. Whatever it is, like in 2 months, you actually want to engage with him. Now, I said that this is exactly how I got my son into private school, the school of his choice. Um, my kids and I were at an event for their middle school. He went to a private middle school, and they were having a kind of like we can play at halftime basketball game at USF, University of San Francisco, which is my school that I went to and graduated from with my master's, and the school is connected, the middle school was connected to the school, and so they had this opportunity to go and in the middle of a USF game at the halftime to be able to, like, run the court. My husband is a coach, he was a coach at that time, so he was able to do it as well. So, we went and we did it, and after we finished, like, literally, y'all, it was only like a 5-minute halftime experience, right? But the kids loved it. They loved it. And so after we did it, we were walking around the stadium and this gentleman came to my husband and started talking to him. He was like, "Hey, like I noticed your son, right? My son is a lefty. And if you know anything about sports, that is the ultimate advantage when you're a lefty because everybody else, more 95% of the people are right-handed, so they don't know which way you're gonna go, and if you worked on your right hand like my son has, you never know which way he's gonna go, right? So that's an advantage. Just throw that out there. And so the guy was like, "So what school does he wanna go to? Like, he's pretty cool." Like, he was really like, "Y'all, this is a 5-minute halftime experience," but he was like, "Oh, he was doing pretty good there, like, who is he?" And so my husband told him what school he wanted to go to and all of that, and mind you, me and my son were, like, somewhere else sitting down, and he was like, "Oh, let me talk to your son," right? So my husband's like, "Hey, come here," calling my son. My son goes over to him, they have a conversation. When they come back, I'm like, "What happened?" He was like, "Oh my god, he sits on the board of the school that he wants to go to." I was like, "No freaking way. Are you serious?" So what happened? What did he say? And he said, "I got his number." Remember, my husband is the social butterfly. He's a squirrel. And he got his number, he got his business card. He's like, "Connected, well connected, blah, blah." He's like, "Yeah, reach out to me." And I was like, "He is no way he's gonna remember you. It's no way." But y'all, I remembered this 222 method. I had this already at this time, right? So I'm like, in 2 days, email him. So in 2 days, he emailed, "Oh, thanks for following up. Yes, we're having a retreat and we're going to be talking about enrollment. Send me your son's name, number, address, all the things, right? Send it." He sends it to him in 2 weeks. "Hey, just wanted to follow up. How you doing? Oh, so glad you tomorrow we're going on that retreat. I'm so glad you followed up and reminded me. I'll let you know what happens after." We didn't have to wait for 2 months because after the retreat, he was like, "I talked about your son and I found out that he knows such and such that sits on the board too because he's one of the pastors at the church that your older son goes to." I'm like, "Yo, talk about a perfect storm of things," right? But I can honestly say that, you know, being able to follow up was the secret sauce of being able to get him into this school. I mean, out of like 4,000 kids that applied to this school for the ninth grade, only about 300 got in. My son got in and he got a scholarship. Now, I ain't gonna say the scholarship covered everything, but he got a scholarship that covered a significant portion of his tuition. So y'all, this 222 method is something I don't want you to don't skip out on this. 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. If you are like, I don't even know what to say, I don't know how to follow up, I don't know how to keep in contact, use this, come back, leave a comment on this episode, and tell me how it went. Okay. So from the moment of this episode, tell me how it's going. In 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. Tell me how it's going because I want to know. Literally, it has worked for me. Okay. So that's the next thing. That's the fourth thing you can do. Use that 222 method. Now, last but not least, ride on the backs of other extroverted people. I need y'all to leverage other people's networks, period, especially if you're an introvert. I have probably operated most of my career by leveraging a network that somebody else had. When I first went into coaching, we was partnered with a buddy, right? And so this is my first like entrance into understanding like if I'm with a mentor, a buddy, a coach, somebody that they're going to help usher me and take me on the path because they've already been a couple of steps ahead of me. They'll take me on the path to where I need to go. Okay. And so, literally, I used to walk around with this woman who is still my dear friend. And she introduced me to everybody I need to know. And she spoke highly of me. She did all the talking for me. I didn't have to sell myself. I didn't have to talk about myself. I didn't have to any of that because she did it for me. And that is the way I started to learn people. So connect to somebody. If you're an introvert, it just takes one person that you need to be connected to. Connect to that one person, and I guarantee you, once they get to know you, they can start doing the talking for you. You don't have to talk. I'd say this about one of my coach friends, one of my coach besties. And she's extroverted like nobody's business. She's extroverted. And she actually introduced me to another woman who's also an introvert. So awkward, right? Me and this other introvert trying to have a conversation. Yeah, awkward. But we had this extroverted bestie who was like the center of us, the connected point of both of us. And it turned into because I rolled the back of her network, I was able to connect with this introvert. I've been on lives with her. I've been part of a full kind of like 2-day event, panel event, and we've connected in so many ways. We send LinkedIn messages to each other every so often because I was connected to them in that way. And so I want you to know we're only 7 degrees of separation from the person that we really want to talk to, the person we want to connect with. And so I want you to be reminded that if you are so much of an introvert that it's really, really hard for you to even muster up conversation, find somebody who can go with you to that networking event. Find somebody in the crowd who looks just as awkward as you and connect with them. Be like, hey, girl, what's up? Hey, what's up? Ooh, y'all, I don't know what to say. I'm just sitting over here by myself. I'm drinking my water. I've done that. And then all of a sudden we stay connected the entire time. So it's okay. Give yourself permission. That's a part of me knowing who I am and me knowing myself. And I want that for you too. Okay. So just remember that, be reminded of that. It is okay for you to do. Okay. So I'll just recap, these 5 steps, and I want you to try them out because they are worth it. They have amplified my career. They have amplified my entrepreneurship. They have helped me meet so many different people in both. I got on 2, not 1, but 2 boards within, probably the span of 6 months because of who I knew, because of me connecting with people, okay? And so I want you to do this. This is real important, okay? So, the first thing, um, know yourself, know who you are, what type of person you are, what's your personality. If you're the squirrel, be the squirrel. If you are the person who need a little alone time, the introvert, be the introvert. It's okay. All of it works. All of it works. The second thing is have an intention, be clear on your goal, be clear on your purpose, be clear on why you're doing this thing. Why is it important to you? If it ain't important to you, don't do it. But if it's important to you, why? Why? Let that be the the thing that sends you to action and gets you going. The third thing, skip happy hours and focus on working hours. You don't have to do anything extra unless you want to. You can really focus on the working hours and being mindful of that. Now, there are particular things within your working hours you want to do. I mean, you do want to ask people to go out for coffee. You may want to join a group, an employee resource group, something like that. You may want to raise your hand for different projects. You may want to go on a walk and talk. Like in your working hours, you definitely have things that you need to do. Do those things, but focus only on that time to be, the faux social butterfly. Okay. The third thing is to or the fourth thing actually is the 222 method. So really focusing on 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. That is the cadence for following up, for staying connected and nurturing the relationship. And last but not least, leverage other people's networks. Okay. You can ride on the backs of an extrovert. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I don't know if you tell this directly or not. After it has happened for me, I have told like, my coach Bessie, like, girl, I just, stay connected to you. You gonna get me to whoever I need to know. And we laugh about it. It's all good. I'm not trying to take any relationships away, step on any toes, or be transactional about it. Again, I'm an introvert who doesn't like transactional relationships. So for me, it has to be genuine. So I'm not trying to do that. Okay. So those are the 5 ways that you can do this. I think it will get you so far. It will get you where you need to go. Okay. So as a recap, and just to reinforce this to you, networking is just relationship building. That's all it is. And I want you to know that it doesn't have to be like this big, huge, massive endeavor. Really, we're talking about how do you build relationships, right? And it starts from the first hello. I think of Floetry. I know that the group Floetry, the two women. I love them. I don't think they're together anymore, but they had this song like, "Hello, how are you? What you doing? Nothing." Like at the first hello, at the first hello is when things get going. Okay. I have another concept of dating the C-suite that starts with this hello too. Maybe I'll do a podcast about that again. But this is what it's all about. Okay. You can do this. This is not hard. Stay being yourself. It's okay to be an introvert. It's okay to be more busy and not being able to go to these happy hours. It's okay. No two people do relationships the same. And the world shouldn't expect you to, nor should your organizations expect you to, okay? Because it's possible as long as you stay true to yourself, okay? Now, if you enjoyed this episode, I want you to take a moment to like and subscribe and share. There's somebody out there just like you, an introvert who wants to grow her career and reach the 6-figure mark. And this can be the start of that journey. Okay. As always, you don't need a title to lead. You only need to start leading. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.